Tokyo. Welcome to the Dice Tower. I'm Camilla Cleghorn. Oh, my mic is muted.
No, you're fine.
There's a big thing. Okay. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me.
They can hear you, you're fine.
You're sure they can hear me? It says your mic is muted. They can hear me, says Z Garcia, so on him if you cannot. All right, I'm Camilla Cleghorn. I'm here to answer your questions today. Just got back from not Gen Con, PAX Unplugged last night, so not jet lagged, still same time zone, but yeah, it was kind of a busy weekend. Let's see, let's just jump right in. Can you talk about the King of Monster Island versus the Reckoners? I can. Let's see. Hold on. I forgot I have to add that to broadcast, right? Little rusty, like I said here. That's all right. I'll catch up. Yeah, King of Monster Island versus the Reckoners. I love the Reckoners. They're both going to be cooperative games. Both going to have a lot of dice manipulation in them. My personal preference is the Reckoners. I find it to be a little more heavy, but with that it's more engaging. So that would be my preference, which is a little bit disappointing because I'm such a huge fan of King of Tokyo in general. But personal preferences, I lean towards the Reckoners. I enjoyed the books. I think it's a great theme. I think it's a really good crossover theme between a couple different genres. So yeah, there we go. All right, let's keep it moving. Yes, you can hear me. Well, that's good. All right, what are my top 5 favorite dog breeds? 5. Oh man, I gotta limit it here. I currently have Great Weimers, which is a designer breed between Great Danes and Weimaraners. So that's going to be my number 1. My number 2 is probably Boxers. They are so energetic. My last dog was a Boxer. Sadly put her down going on 2 years ago now. So I love Boxers. I just find their energy is just absolutely infectious. Not at 3 a.m. when you're doing laps around the neighborhood chasing them because they escaped. But in general, I really like Boxers. Next up would probably be a giant Schnauzer, the really big ones. Again, just that energy is absolutely infectious. I love Pit Bulls. I think that they are one of the most snuggly, just snuggly dogs. I love them. They're just so personable. So I love Pit Bulls. Really just big dogs. I like big, goofy dogs. So my top 5 is any ones that are big and goofy and has shorter hair because I hate sweeping. All right. All right, good. Sound is right. Fine. Z was right. 1 point for Z. What is your favorite miniature paint set brand? I am pretty loyal to Vallejo at this point. I started with Vallejo and then I went to Army Painter for a little bit and then came back to Vallejo. I am using some of the Army Painter speed paints at this point, but the GW ones are really good. So yeah, probably, I mean, pretty much all the big brands, but I think my base paints, I really like the consistency of Vallejo. They're just really good. And especially their line that I'm currently using is the Game Color. And is it the Game Color? I feel like I have to Google this now. It's not the model color, it's the gaming series, that's right. Because you don't have to have a primer for them, and so sometimes if I'm just going for really quick or I'm doing like a mass 15 of the same models or whatever, I won't prime them. I'll just go right and just make sure I base with that specific type, and it works really well. So yeah, I'm pretty loyal to Vallejo at this point, and I have pretty close to their whole set. You can't hear Delicio. Anything stand out from PAX Unplugged? I was really excited because they had season 2 of Final Girl there over at the Van Ryder booth, and that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed seeing that. They did announce the Gloomhaven RPG, and so there was a lot of that. A lot of people walking around with they were giving out like hats, so I saw a lot of that. Oh, what else kind of stood out? Speaking of paints and what paints I like, there was this little booth, a little independent company that had some really neat painting supplies. You know, they designed their own wet palette, and they had different brush holders and things like that. So I spent quite a bit of time there. And Turbo Dork. I got me some Turbo Dork paints. Finally, I'm so excited. All right, take that one off. Oh, Spunks 44. Yes, I am from Knoxville, and I do know McKay's. Oh my gosh, I have spent a lot of time in McKay's. I probably have only bought things there a couple times, but it's just a really neat place. So McKay's is a used bookstore and CD kind of collectible, just old stuff warehouse. I mean, it's about the size of a Target, like a smaller Target, and it's 2 stories, and it's, I mean, thousands and thousands of books. It is bigger than like a small library, and they're used books, and they're all in there categorically and organized. And so you go through, and it's, I mean, everything from 50 cents to, $1.50 for some paperbacks or some hardbacks. It's just a really fun time. The whole upstairs was CDs back when I was there. It was 15 years ago. So I don't know what it is now, if they still have CDs, but it was really cool. When I left Knoxville, they were kind of getting into having more video games and that kind of stuff. So I don't know what it's like now, but yes, I've spent a lot of time at McKay's. Oh, Tommy from Texas started doing triathlons last year. Actually, one of my life goals is to do a triathlon. I've tried a couple times. Not to do it, but just life, I sign up for one and then I move, or, something like that. But swimming stamina is an issue. Any suggestions to improve this? Yeah, swim. It's one of those things that, unfortunately, being in the swimming world, we always said, swimming is fantastic because it helps you in all these different sports. If you need to increase your stamina for soccer, try swimming. If you need to increase your lung capacity, try swimming. Football players, when I was at UT, I did lifeguarding, and the football players would actually come and train in the pool just for that extra resistance. So if you want to improve any sport, swim. But if you want to improve your swimming, you have to swim. So it's like it improves everything, but nothing helps you in swimming. So for stamina, just keep at it. Make a really simple set, and just keep at it. I would say at this point, if you're not looking to just dive fully in and just go for like 30 minutes straight, just make it, do 4 sets and keep yourself on a time. Give yourself 2 minutes to do 4 laps, and every 2 minutes start another 4 laps until you can kind of whittle that down. So yeah, just keep at it and don't be discouraged. So it gets better. It's like running. It's really not fun until you're good at it. So keep at it. Do I have any special Christmas traditions? I don't think so. Typically, I guess it's kind of a tradition. It's more of like a gift giving tradition. I don't do a lot of gifts in our family. We do more like experiences. So we try to go to like different live shows or see different exhibits around town, things like that. So if that's kind of a tradition, it's like Christmas month, and we just try to be out and enjoy Christmas. So there's a big kind of fair down here that I heard about in South Florida. It's an enchanted forest with Santa or something like that. And so I think I might try to take my son to that and have fun. Just that, we've gone to see some Broadway stuff. We've gone to see some local stuff at a college. So yeah, I think that's probably my biggest tradition, is just trying to enjoy the Christmas spirit more than really getting into the gift giving. Also, I'm a terrible gift giver, so, win-win. There's quite a discussion about Christmas movies on breakfast this morning. Any movies that you have to watch every year during the Christmas season? My son, and this is one of those, arguably not really a Christmas movie, but he really enjoys Shazam, and it's set during Christmas time, and so now that's one that we've watched every Christmas since it came out. I personally love The Grinch. I think my favorite version is probably the newest one that came out, the newest animated one. So, but it's not every Christmas I have to watch at least one Grinch movie. And then Home Alone, that's a go-to as well. It's not Christmas without Home Alone. Yeah, that's probably that. I really, really last year enjoyed that Klaus movie. So I think that's probably going to be a go-to for me as well, as that Klaus movie on Netflix. It was the Netflix special. Highly recommend that one. Wrapping is one of my favorite things. I love wrapping Christmas presents. I don't know why. I think it's just the procedure of it, and just the really tight lines. There's just something about that, folding it over to get your measurements and unfolding them and crisping the edges so that it folds up really nicely. I love wrapping Christmas presents. Growing up, yeah, my parents would buy all the Christmas presents and then save them all up. And then I would sit down for like 4 or 5 hours. So I have 5 brothers, and I would be in charge of wrapping all the Christmas presents. So Christmas wasn't that exciting because I knew what everybody was getting, but I didn't mind because I got to wrap them all. And I would always do like really stupid labels for it. You know, I wouldn't label it like to Camilla or to Cody. I would label it to like the ugly one, or, well, that one's didn't, I don't know why that came to mind, but there was one of those. Anyway, but something like that, some little like inside joke, to the tallest, to the one with the highest grade, something like that. Just kind of little pokes and funs. My parents didn't find it as funny as I did, but that's okay. But anyway, so I would always do the labels and take care of the wrapping. So yeah, definitely prefer wrapping over gift bags. I also think, for me personally, like, it's not about the gift, it's about the thought behind it, and I think if somebody takes time to actually wrap a present, as opposed to just throwing it in a gift bag and going, like, it just has that much more meaning, they put time into it as well. So yeah, I definitely personally I prefer to wrap, and I prefer to get a wrapped gift as well. But I don't save the wrapping paper. That always, like, confuses me. Have I watched Bob's Burgers? No. And as anyone said, they remind you of an adult version of Louise. No. But I'll take the praise. Oh, Justin, too many. I got too many, but also not enough. I think I ended up coming away with 6, something like that. I just kind of, when I was there, I took a look at the projects I have coming up and chose one specific for that. So I didn't get as many as I wanted. I had a little restraint, but it's enough to kind of get in there and use them and get familiar with them to really nail down what I want. There is a contest! Yes, Loopy, and I forgot the information on my desk. I'm going to have to pull that up real quick. I'm not on my computer. There is a contest. I'll be back with that information. Speaking of dogs, is either of yours more of a scaredy cat than the other? Yes. I have one dog who is just kind of, he likes what he likes and he doesn't like what he doesn't like, He is very particular, we'll say. And then the other one is a little more skittish. He got a little bit more of the Weimaraner in him, and is just very, very inquisitive on his own terms. So, Ninja. All right. So yes, we have a contest. Thank you, Chris Yee, for the win. All right. Contest. Email us at contest@dicetower.com. Subject line is going to be Ninja, Ninja. In the subject line, tell me, what is your favorite board game accessory? And be sure to give us your name and your shipping address as well for a $10 Game Nerds gift card. Subject is Ninja. Paul, what are you looking forward to during this spectacular next week? I'm looking forward to probably the top 10s. I'm putting them together right now on all the different top 10 lists. I really enjoyed the live ones, but we're also doing some pre-recorded ones individually, and I'm really enjoying those. I've got a couple. We kind of went through the office and picked our different topics, so ideally you're getting a topic that you like, and I'm really excited about the ones I'm doing. So no spoilers, but I'm really excited about the recorded top 10s. My favorite Christmas character is the Grinch. I find him amazingly dry. Favorite foods or snacks for the upcoming holidays? I really like Christmas crack. I don't know what to call it other than that. It's like a Chex Mix, but white chocolate coated. It's really good. It's Christmas crack because I eat a lot of it. I don't know that I really have anything else specifically. I really like molasses cookies. I prefer that over gingerbread. So maybe molasses cookies, but I also hate baking, so I probably won't have that. Yeah, I'm just gonna say Christmas crack. That's my jam. Oh, this is a hard one, Zod. If I were to open a game cafe and could only have 3 games in the library, what would they be and why? So it's a board game cafe, so I'd have to think about the people that are going to be visiting it. As well as it's a cafe, it's going to be games that are going to have like food and stuff around it. But I'd probably put rules in place for that. So I would say probably something like Quacks of Quedlinburg. That's going to be accessible, have some really modern mechanisms to them, but a wide appeal at the same time. Only 3 games. I'd want something cooperative in there. So maybe something like The Reckoners or Pandemic, again, kind of closer to that welcoming. And then one just really, really kind of a deeper game, it's going to give them a better experience. And that could be any number of things. I don't know. 3 games is so hard because you have to also think about theme. I'd probably go something like, I don't know, maybe, well, we already did a cooperative, so I wouldn't want Massive Darkness. Maybe a Zombicide. Oh, that'd be another cooperative, Zombicide. I don't know what that third one would be. I'd have to think on that one. Again, something deep. Maybe like a Dune Imperium. Something like that. Those are all 3 really new games, though. So, as far as Brandon Sanderson goes, I have read the first Mistborn. I haven't made it any further in that trilogy. I'm really bad at series of books. I burn out pretty quickly on them. So, but I have read the first one of that, and I really enjoyed it. So that's going to be the top, because it's the only one I've read. Stormlight is excellent. Yep. Speed paints in general are really expensive. I did find GW does the medium. They have a contrast paint line, so it's not the speed paint, but it's the contrast paint lines, and they sell just the medium. And so I am getting quite a bit of legs out of that, because then I can just use a little bit and make a small quantity of the color I need. So I've used that quite a bit. The contrast medium. Again, not quite speed paints, but very, very similar. But yeah, you're right. They are expensive, so I don't have many of those. Just my favorites. Ooh, here we go. Top 10 spirits, or top 10 list of spirits from Spirit Island. Nature Incarnate I've not looked at. I've also not had a chance to check out Horizons. Just haven't gotten my hands on a copy of that one yet. But I am really excited to play those. I really like the spirits with a lot of movement. So we're going to be talking about like Many Minds or Thunder Speaker, ones like that have that lot of movement, a lot of interaction with the board. Beasts is another one. Sharp Fangs is one of my favorites as well. So ones like that. Oceans I find fun. I'd say that's kind of I know that's one that people like a lot. That's kind of a medium, like I'm always happy to play it. But the really one that surprised me how much I liked it was Grinning Trickster. So in that one, you have this power that it's my favorite power probably out of all the spirits is the let's see what happens. So you play it out, and whether it's your surprise tigers or whatever card that you had, and then if you have your innate spirit, it's let's see what happens. So you just turn over a random card from the deck and do what it says, and that's led to a lot of really highs and lows in the games, like, oh, so much was dependent on that card, or like, oh my gosh, that's twice as much as I was expecting. So I just find that to be a really swingy character, but just a lot of fun. If I'm playing just for fun, I'll probably pull out Grinning Trickster as well. Was there a live play of Dwellings of Eldervale this year? I don't know. I'd have to check that out. I don't believe so. But I'm finding as I'm doing these top 10s at the end of the year is longer than I thought it was. I'm like, oh wow, that was this year. So it's possible. I'd have to check. I do miss Shoots and Marbles. It is a lot of fun. It's just one of those stupid funs, that you can't really explain. It's just a lot of good moments. I've been grateful for the break because it is so different in the middle of the afternoon from everything else we did, kind of that break in the flow since it's everybody in the office. But it has been, but I am ready to get back to it. I am looking forward to it. It was a lot of fun, just a lot of kind of funny inside jokes, came from it. Some great stuff for t-shirts, right? Maybe we'll have to talk to Brian about that. Some great quotes came from it. But yeah, a lot of fun, Shoots and Marbles. Yeah, Vinyl Frog, I did run into quite a few content creators, saw Board Game Co. there. I heard a lot of people met other content creators, but I didn't meet as many. I heard, Ant Lab was there, and I heard, gosh, I don't know, I'm still so brain fried coming off of it. But yeah, I did hear a lot was there, but I'm thinking Board Game Co. might have been the only one that I met, to include Devin and Meg as well. So yeah. Who is the smartest of the Dice Tower crew? We're just going to go with not me. It seems like the people at the Dice Tower work a lot. We do. How long is a normal day? That's a hard one because a normal day, we work, 8 to 5. Is just our day here, but then sometimes we stay after and play games or go home and play games, so our normal in-office is just as 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, barring conventions and playing at home or coming in on the weekends to play games, things like that. So yeah, we work enough to get the job done. Who was the most amazing tattooed Dice Tower person you saw at PAX? Roy doesn't count. Well, I looked at myself in the mirror every morning, so I'm gonna go with me. Swimming will improve your mental health, which will make you better at board gaming. Yes, but probably not. How has the Florida weather been? Which state that you've lived in was the best year-round weather? Zachary, I'm probably pretty biased here, but I think Knoxville or Tennessee, just think that, Appalachian, I love the weather that's there. You have your 4 distinct seasons, and every season you're ready for the next season. Winter's coming, you're tired of the cold, so then you get into spring. During spring, then you're tired of allergies, you're ready for summer, and it's you're warming up and you want to go outside and do stuff, but it's not quite warm enough, to do it in shorts and tank top. So then you're excited for summer. At the end of summer, you're tired of sweating, so you're looking forward to fall. At the end of fall, you're like, I just want snow and I want Christmas. So I really love that change. I love the 4 distinct seasons. But Florida weather's been great. It's also nice to be able to go outside year round. I've never lived somewhere where I'm more tan in the winter than I am in the summer, and so that's been really fun. I'm really excited about getting to this weather. We're hitting about 80, maybe 85 some days right now, but the humidity's starting to go down. The mosquitoes are starting to die off, so I'm absolutely loving the weather that we're getting into right now. It's time for those shrimp boils and out, backyard games and things like that. We're getting to the fun stuff now. Ooh, Bojangles. Visit was in Knoxville. Visiting the other UT. Okay, all right. How do you think Bojangles compares to Popeyes? I think it breaks my heart. I really like the Cajun seasoning of Popeyes. So I think I lean towards Popeyes, but I would truly take either of them most days of the week. Ahoy, Chris Yee. Yes, I'm only that far down. All right. Whoa, I'm just going to broadcast this. Just leave that up there for an awkward amount of time. That's a compliment from the Chris Yee, y'all. What minis for what board game are you currently painting? Right now I'm painting My Little Scythe. And sorry, Jameson, I'm not really enjoying it. So I'm going to actually table that for a little bit. I find it sitting on my desk and I'm just like, I don't want to paint. So I want something a little grislier. So I'm not sure what I'm going to get into yet next. I want to get into some more monsters and some more nasties. So there was some Massive Darkness 2 stuff that came here through the office that I was able to snag. I might play around with some of those. Was also thinking about maybe Claustrophobia 1694. I forget which year it is. The Claustrophobia, the new edition. I was also thinking about maybe getting into that some. So I don't know. I've got to go home and look and see what I have versus see what's come through here. That I wanted, like I said, the Massive Darkness stuff. I grabbed a little bit of that. So we'll see. I don't know, but something deliciously nasty. I'm little tired of cute. I prefer to rap. MC Camilla. MC Killmilla. I love it. 5 brothers. Are they older or younger? Do they like playing board games as well? So I have 1 older brother and 4 younger brothers. My older brother and then 2 brothers younger than me, they both are into board games. Nowhere near as deep into the hobby, but my brother 2 older than me, his name's Cody. He's the one that actually got me into gaming, kind of. I mean, I've shared my story last Q&A where it was somebody else like, oh, you've played Pandemic, I've played Pandemic, and that kind of, is where we jumped into the rabbit hole. But again, that jumping off point was from Cody. I was up visiting him when he was up at Penn State. And he introduced me to Pandemic. So that was kind of the actual start of it, is from him. But now, no, they all come to me for board games, like, hey, tell me what to get the kids this year for Christmas, and I'll send them a couple games. So yeah, they're nowhere near as in the hobby as me, but they do enjoy them, those 2 brothers specifically. It's now their tradition to forget there's a contest. Yep, it's a good one. Have you gone sightseeing when you were at Essen, or have you had time for that? No, not this year at Essen. This year at Essen, we didn't really have time, as well as our hotel was a little bit away. So we did, after we went to our hotel, there was a market right there, and there was a festival of lights kind of thing happening with a lot of of different vendors that were around. So we did go and do that a couple times, and that was nice to get away from Essen. The Essen Spiel Fair specifically, and at nights I would go out and go for a walk. So I did get to see that, but it wasn't much. It was a very, very small little bit. I do hope that if I'm able to go again next year that I can extend it a little bit, but yeah, really enjoyed that. My favorite national park that I've been to is probably the Smokies. That could just be because I'm the most familiar with it, but one of the top on my list is Acadia. I really, really want to get up north and go to Acadia. This is a good one here. Do you prefer Milla, Camilla, or Killmilla? This has actually been a really fun, not fun, but like probably frustrating for the guys, actually, discussion around the office. So my name is Camilla, but I view myself as Milla, but then professionally I've always gone by Camilla because I was a coach, and I don't think, teenagers need to be calling their head coach their nickname, so I've always professionally gone by Camilla. So when I came here, I went by Camilla, but then this is an odd job where it's professional, but also very low key, so it's sometimes I forget, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm Milla. Wait, I forgot I'm professional right now. I'm Camilla. So I view myself as Milla, and that's kind of my preferred, but Camilla is also my name, and I'm not offended by it, obviously. And I think Camilla is fantastic. I really get a kick out of that. That was a very welcoming kind of thing, when I got here and got that moniker pretty quickly from chat. And I think it's just fun. It was a really welcoming kind of exciting moment, kind of endearing. So yeah, I like it. Oh, Rich, what are some good games that stood out to me this year? Check back next week during the Winter Spectacular. I'll actually tell you about 10 of those great games that stood out. Oops, this one didn't quite brought. There you go. What minis for a game that you painted are you most proud of? I am most proud, I think, of my Project Elite minis. And I think that's because this is the first big game that I undertook where I did the whole thing, and I only did the monster nasties. And I love it because I can see my progression. And from my very first one to my like third one that I ended up hating, so I stripped it and redid it into my very last one, which the one I saved for last was one I was really excited about. It's the big beetle guy. And I liked him because, I'm sorry, it's actually a her, isn't it? Because she has the babies. Not here nor there. But it had a lot of really flat surfaces on it that I didn't like how it was going when I was painting it. And so I did a little bit of freehand, and I am not an artist at all. Like, I have no artistic ability. And so that's when I tell people about painting, they're like, oh, I can't paint, I don't have abilities. And I'm like, having a hobby and something you enjoy is not about being good at it, it's about enjoying it. And so, and I think this mini kind of epitomizes that. Like, is it great? Probably not. But I love it, and it represents so much of me stepping outside of my comfort zone, you know, and having those flat surfaces and trying to bring out personality and freehanding just a little bit. It was such a growth experience and really kind of solidified that pride of like, I made this and it looks okay. I enjoy it, you know. It really brought the game to life. So it kind of epitomizes that, and I'm just really proud of it because I was not comfortable and I'm not artistic. And yeah, so I think my Project Elite is probably the minis that I'm most proud of. So Wonderbook, Stuffed Fables, and Familiar Tales. I played and painted Stuffed Fables actually with my son, and I really enjoyed it. I read through Familiar Tales, and I didn't think it was going to be quite for him, so I didn't play it. So I have actually read through and looked at that, and it looks good as well. But Stuffed Fables was fun, and it actually led to a lot of really interesting discussions. As far as theme, it's the girl going to her big girl bed for the first time, so it was a little under him. But because of that, I think it was really relatable and led to some interesting kind of moral discussions, you know, like how to be a good friend and how to help other people and what it's like to face scary things and how to be brave. What's the difference between being brave and being reckless, you know? So I really liked Stuffed Fables because it kind of opened a door for a lot of those things, as well as was just really fun gameplay and really interesting story. I think it was good how the story was broken up with gameplay, as well as because you go through different pages sometimes in one session. It had good breaks that we could take. So I think Stuffed Fables brought a lot of good to the table, and we really enjoyed that. In fact, I was recently culling my collection, and I asked him, I was like, hey, you know, we played through this. Are you ready to get rid of it? What do you think about giving it to, you know, your uncle? So your cousins can play it. And he's like, no, I want to keep that one. And I was like, you think we'll play it again? He's like, no, but it's just, you could tell it just had all those good memories for him that he wants to hang on to it. So yeah, I really recommend Stuffed Fables. My son's favorite game right now is probably Harry Potter Similo. He's really liking that. He's played that. Either that or the Ravensburger Minecraft game at Target. I want to say probably one of those two are his favorites. Right? I think so. I'm going to say one of those two. Yes, I've played Marvel Snap. Dry brushing or edge highlighting? I'm more of a highlighter than a dry brusher. If I'm going for really quick paint, I'll do dry brushing. Or if I want a couple different ones, you know, I want to have more kind of blended, you know, that, you know, and actually kind of lighten it and go, you know, really deal with that heavy-handed to a lighter color and really bring it out. Again, I'm not a good painter. I don't know all these technical things I'm talking about. So I don't know what I know what I mean, but not how to say it. But yeah, so if I'm going for like multiple colors, I'll dry brush, but I prefer the look of edge highlighting. So I do more highlighting than dry brush. And I do wash. I do wash, I'm gonna say like 70% of the time. Again, depends on what I want them to look like. But yeah, I'm still definitely in that wash and highlight, you know, base, wash, highlight kind of painter. Were you doing board game reviews before joining the Dice Tower? No, I was not. I was a swim coach. I played games for fun and was part of the game group, and that's it. So no, this was kind of my first shot at anything with the camera or board game related. Yeah. Do you display any of your painted miniatures at home? I have in the past. Like I said, I'm kind of going through a culling period in my collection right now, so everything is packed up just so I can physically see how much space. But then once I see that, sometimes I will. I'll kind of push the box back, and then put the minis in front, with some lights, is how I used to have it. So yeah, I do enjoy that, and I love it when other people do it. So it's fun. Do you think the downstream expansion detracts from Meadow, or is it worth the table space? It seems a little tacked on. I didn't think it was tacked on. You can check out our review. I really enjoyed it. I really think that it gave some more options to the game that were not necessary, but gave you more decision space. Not saying the base game struggled with that, but I did appreciate the additional space and options provided. So I liked it. What places are on your travel bucket list? I'm really outdoorsy. I really like hiking and just really neat, just being outside. So on my travel bucket list, probably Brazil. I would love to go to Thailand. I think that they have some really interesting, just like with the rice paddy farms and things like that. I just think it'd be some really cool stuff to see there. I'd really love to go to Hawaii, again, just for the hikings and the volcanic ash and rock. I think that'd be fun. Sticking with US, I would love to go to Alaska. I really want to go on like a cruise up through there, go up and see the Aurora Borealis. Do some snow hiking, up in Alaska. Yeah, really, I mean, I think it's a really short list of where I would not want to go, I really just enjoy seeing, I'm really nature oriented, I guess, so just seeing everything that the earth and the world has to offer, and I love just all the different places and appreciating that, seeing the similarities, like, oh, this is kind of like here, but it's also not, it's unique, and, really seeing those similarities and contrast around the world. So I think there's very few places I wouldn't go. Will the Rebellion Etsy planets be at Dice Tower West? I believe so. I think we're still working on that. Oh, at Dice Tower West. Nope, I'm thinking East. They will not be at West. Nope, those are part of the library here, which goes to Dice Tower East. Which Dice Tower crew members has the closest gaming style to you? I'm probably closest to Mike, I think. And we both like really good themes with good decisions, kind of the mid-weight Euro, but has to have a good theme. But I'm somewhere in between. I'm between Mike and Z, probably closer to Mike, I think. What gateway game would you suggest to get people new into the hobby? Rich, I think this really depends on the person. And I think it's, sometimes we get focused on how do I get someone into the hobby and what game, what do I need to do for them? How do I, it's the one size fits all. I want to show everything that the hobby has to offer. And I think we kind of lose the uniqueness of the individual. For somebody, it might be playing a simple card game. It might be Uno, and that just kind of opens an experience, and if they're already there, maybe it gets a little more complicated. So I think it's sometimes more just about the person and the situation. That being said, one of my go-tos is the Reckoners, just because I think, it has a lot to offer, whether it's the theme that they're interested in or whether it's, they're familiar with Yahtzee and they come from a Yahtzee background. It is cooperative. So a lot of things that I think Pandemic can offer, the Reckoners just has a more widely appealing theme, with whether they've read the books or whether they just like superheroes and they kind of are into that anti-superhero kind of theme. So I think something like that, but it really is about knowing the person. I remember one time, and I do not suggest this, but I have one friend that kind of her gateway into the hobby was Obsession. We were talking about games and she'd played a little couple couple little games, and came over and saw my collection and was like, what is that? I want to play that one. I was like, well, maybe this other one, and tried to convince her otherwise. And no, she was hard. I want to play that one. And we did, and she loved it, and now is pretty into the hobby. So again, I think it's about knowing the person and just having the patience for them to grow and explore the hobby as you did. Do you use a wet palette? I can't seem to handle wet palettes well, so I use ceramic palette. Azad, I do use a wet palette. I go back and forth. I don't like to use metallics on my wet palette that much. I just find sometimes they get too watery and then the pigmentation shows. Like, and again, maybe that's just the ones I have. But I do use a wet palette. I also use just a dollar store, palette as well. It's like a plastic tray. So I really like the wet palette if it's a project or a mini that's going to take me multiple sessions, just to have those colors already mixed. I think, just as a suggestion, I think I ended up watching a lot of videos because I as well struggled. I couldn't quite get the humidity down, or it's too wet, or it makes all my paints runny, that kind of stuff. But I saw a really good video by Miniac on how you're doing a wet palette wrong or something like that, and come to find out my wet palette was too dry. They're like, it's a wet palette, it should be wet, and I watched, and his parchment paper was almost floating, it was very, very saturated. And I've had a lot better luck since doing that. So I'd say, yeah, just try. If you are interested in still trying, check out some more YouTube videos. But if not, I think a ceramic palette, if that's working for you and you are getting the results you want, then own it. Top 5 snacks to have while gaming. Popcorn. Pretzels. Oh, I love nachos. But you have to stop the gaming for that. I really, really like I don't know what they're called, but the Oriental rice. It's like a Chex Mix, but it's like rice cakes and cookies and crackers, and it's like a Chex Mix of rice stuff, and I really, really like that stuff. Really just any of those dry foods, that you can eat. But then again, oranges. So as I'm saying dry foods, I really like oranges for whatever reason. I find them really refreshing, but also hydrating. So that's one of my go-tos as well. And then probably beef jerky. So there you go. Oh my gosh, my longest leisure road trip across America. Hauling stuff for a move doesn't count. Have I ever traveled anywhere? What's the furthest I've actually traveled that was for leisure? Gosh. Probably never gone more than 3 hours just for leisure. Yeah, so not very far. It's always for moving, and then I make a trip out of it. So yeah, so luckily being, my ex-husband being military, we had the luxury of all of our stuff going with the movers and meeting us there, and so we would take a whole week to move. So if that doesn't count though, then none, I guess. Yeah, Diana, my son is the same. Pretty much any Minecraft game he is on board yet with. Absolutely. Ever worry about dust collecting on the displayed minis? Yeah, and that's what I found, is having them displayed, they did get dusty. And, you don't really notice until you pick them up to dust, and you're like, oh, there's a ring there. So yeah, unfortunately, that is a big drawback of it. And then feeling like you have to try to find clean them, but you don't want to get them too wet. Yeah, I agree. Oh, Josh, you're living my dream. Iceland is worth a visit. Yep, that's on my list as well. The guys here went to Iceland a couple years before I came here. So I'm really, really jealous. With swimming background, have you done much snorkeling or diving? I have done quite a bit of snorkeling. I really enjoy it. I want to get into diving, but my son also wanted to do it. And the legal age to get certified is 10. And so I was waiting for him to turn 10, which now he is. And I hope to get certified with him so that we can start to do diving. All right. I'm pretty far behind here. You guys are active in the chat. Let's see. Trying to find more questions, though. Gateway game is Dominion. All right. Oh, you guys making fun of my half of an Oreo? For those of you who don't know, I like what I like and I don't like what I don't like, and I like how much of it I like, and if I don't like it, I'll throw it away. That being said, I like the proportion of a double stuffed Oreo with a single cookie, so I always take the other half off and throw it away, and apparently that is unacceptable around here in the office. So Chris Yee is now my cleanup crew and eats the other half of the Oreo for me. So, yeah. No. Does she eat the middle? I do eat the middle. I do eat the middle. I want the middle, and Chrissy gets just the chocolate cookie. I'm not a big chocolate fan, though. White chocolate's good, but just plain chocolate. Milk chocolate I'm okay with, but it needs something to go with it, preferably like a caramel or a toffee or a nugget. But nougat, I never know. But yeah, the other half can just go in the trash. I don't need them. Peppermint cheesecake with an Oreo cookie crust. Ooh. Of that, I like peppermint. Yes, I love Dollywood. I was just telling somebody down here about it the other day. I was like, Dollywood is probably my favorite amusement park because it's a really good marriage of really good rides, but really cool experiences. You know, and you can go into the blacksmithing area and all the different shows that they have. And I love that there's all the different themes through the years, or through the year, you know, that they bring in. They have some of the best and most quality shows I've found. Being said, I haven't been to Disney World. Also, that being said, I'm not really interested in going to Disney World. But I really, really love Dollywood. That's one that I wouldn't mind going to regularly, you know. Yes, love Dollywood. Ah, Nick, we did go over this. Do you prefer Camilla or Milla? I have no preference, but I do view myself as Milla. So either one's good. To the bane of the guys here who have to do my videos and always ask, which do I put down? I'm like, I don't care. I've been told to pick one, so I don't know. I'm still waffling. I don't care. Your Oreo habits are positively horrifying. You have no soul. Be that as it may, I'm happy. My stomach's happy. I know the proportions I like, and I'm sticking to it. Oh, you know, Corey, so the Oreo Thins, they made, I don't know if they still make it. This one time I had Oreo Thins that were the mint Oreo Thins. They were so good. I loved it. It was just a really good mint chocolate. And that's the only time I've liked the Thins, because the other ones don't have enough of the filling. But you can't go mega stuff because then it's just trash. So, yeah. I like what I like. I do agree that Oreo Thins, if they are mint. The best Oreos, though, are the ones that you dip in chocolate at the holiday seasons, and you take candy cranes and crush them up and put them on top. Yum. So good. Favorite Uwe Rosenberg game? Probably New York Zoo. I think that's probably my favorite. I find it really simple. I don't think it does anything crazy, you know. It's not like, oh my gosh, mind-blowing mechanism, but I find the theme pleasing. I find the tile selection really engaging, and also with enough strategy with trying to get the breeding down. So I think it's kind of a really good kind of conglomerate of a couple mechanisms that I really like of his. So yeah, I'm gonna say I think it's not generally accepted as one of his best games, but New York Zoo. Follow-up question, do you have a favorite zoo? I am loving the Miami Zoo. I'd never been to an open air zoo, which, you know, if you are like me and don't know, it is one that it tries to limit the number of actual enclosures that it has, and it just uses natural landscapes within the zoo in order to keep the animals in. So like the monkey exhibit just has this really big moat around it, and the trees between their island and the rest of the park are far enough apart that they can't just go from one to the other. So you really have this in with the animals kind of feel to it. Of course, you know, the bears and the otters and anything underwater, that kind of stuff, there is glass, I mean, obvious, or plexiglass, whatever, obviously, but it feels much more open, as well as the park is divided. It's huge, and it's divided into the different continents, and so it's a nice kind of educational ties to it. It's really seamless, I think, educational ties to it. So anyway, I'm really liking the Miami Zoo a lot. If all that is available is a regular Oreo, do you remove one cookie and break the other in half, like a quarter Oreo? No, if there's all that's... This is, wow, I feel very vulnerable right now. I'm going to be very judged here. But if it's a regular Oreo, I take 2 Oreos and I break them both in half, and then I will take the cream out of one and put it in the other, so then it is a double stuff with 1 cookie, and then I just give the rest to Chris. I have been to Europe as part other than Essen. I've been to England a couple times. I've been to Scotland. I think that's it. Yeah. So not a whole lot, but I have been over there a couple different times, and I really enjoyed it. Just recently, my most recent trip to England, I actually kind of did more of a tour. I was there for 2 weeks, and we flew into London and then drove all the way up to the Scottish border. And then, you know, kind of came down through the Lakes District and stuff like that. And that was a lot of fun, just to kind of get out and see. I think it was really interesting how small, for such I say a small country, again, I'm coming from America, so size is relative, but it's small country, but how much variance there was just in that little bit. And I just found that fascinating. I really, really was glad that I was able to get out and actually see that. It was a lot of fun because we stayed in Airbnbs and actually got to, both of them that we stayed in were like its own section of the house. We had our own entrance and exit, but the actual people lived in the house as well. And so that was a lot of fun because we got to actually meet them and talk to them. And one we actually still keep in touch with. So it was just a lot of fun just to see more culturally, but see the countryside, see what, you know, again, those differences and similarities, you know, I mean, we're all people and we're very similar, but cool, you have these other traditions and your land is a little different. You know, it's just really fun just to see that, compare and contrast, and really see what the country is like, kind of the bones of it. Enjoyed it a lot. I don't play on BGA. I'm not super great with online gaming, whether that's video games or BGA or Tabletopia, is that what it's called? I'm really bad by it. I think I get distracted more by trying to figure out how to make it work than by actually playing the game. So I have fiddled with it a little bit, but I don't really enjoy it now. And so, very similar question here from Rick. Do you prefer app versions of board games often? No. I've tried a couple, and it's every single one. It's just like, oh, that's fine. Yeah, maybe I'll keep that to play, and I never go back to it. So I've yet to find one that really draws me in and plays. I have been talking. I have a good friend who lives on the other side of the country. And so we've been talking about maybe getting the Spirit Island one and trying that together, because that was, you know, a game that we played a lot together when we lived in Baltimore at the same time. So I thought about getting that and playing it. And then interest just kind of wanes, you know, like I really struggle with playing online. I think that's what I love about the board game hobby, is just that tactical, you know, on your table experiences, as well as it takes technology out of the off the table, you know. And I'm not anti-apps in games. I really enjoy that. I really enjoy that integration. But I do think that I like the eye contact and the interactions of people. One of my biggest pet peeves, as you will, is like sitting around with a group of people and them all looking at their phones and just, you know, doom scrolling, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna go do literally anything else. So it's just, I really enjoy being in person in those interactions. Favorite board game upgrades? Painted miniatures, of course. I really enjoy, I think probably upgraded the cardboard tokens, and I'm trying to figure out what kind of upgrade I like. I think I prefer if it goes from cardboard to wood, but sometimes the plastic is nice. It really depends on the game and the theme. You know, I'm struggling right now. I'm upgrading my Spirit Island and kind of chipping away at that, but I think a lot of what I want to keep with the wood because it fits the theme, you know, and kind of the overall general look of the game. So I think upgraded components going from cardboard to either wood or acrylic resin, something like that. I recently, though, I read an article on BGG and grabbed some to try. It's a technique with the epoxy on top of the cardboard, and so it's more of like a conversion of the component more than, I mean, it upgrades them, but you don't like physically buy one. And so I thought that was kind of cool. I really enjoy crafting and building things, and so I've been playing around with that, and we'll see where it goes. Do you play Marvel Champions one-handed or two-handed solo, or only with other players? I play solo one-handed, but my favorite way to play it is with two people. I really like, similar to Spirit Island, just that dynamic of having characters and kind of the balance of the two characters. I think it really opens up the cooperative nature, but I'm not a fan of playing anything two-handed. I've not been a fan yet, we'll say. I will be open-minded, but I really don't enjoy that. I don't like trying to. I like, again, that energy that you get from each other. Spirit Island, Marvel Champions, The Reckoners, any of those kind of co-op games. I like the energy that, you know, your uniqueness and your asymmetry bring together, but I think that's an experience to be shared. So I don't really enjoy two-handed solo stuff. If I am going to do something solo, I either want single-handed or playing something designed for that, you know, like a Final Girl, something like that. Oh, the Toronto Zoo is very much like that. Okay, cool. That's I'm assuming you're talking about kind of that open air kind of thing. So yeah, I'll add that to my list. We'll add Toronto to my list of places I want to visit. Jeremiah, I'll actually not refuse a stuffless Oreo if a pear is handed to me. Noted. All right. All stuff Oreos. Wow, this sounds terrible. Funny enough, Sean, this give me a bag of Oreos that are just the cookies. I did have a thought, and this last year we made a joke about, you know, how we should go through and I'll just eat them all and just save up all the single cookies and then give that to Christmas. But I don't have that kind of dedication, as well as I think the cookies, because I eat like one Oreo a month, they'd be very stale by the time you got it. So I haven't played much Massive Darkness. I've only played Massive Darkness 2. I haven't played much of it, but I really enjoyed the play. I remember I played it because I was kind of waffling on Zombicide, but I've kind of always held back from Zombicide because of what I was just talking about. I don't really love when you have to play multi-handed. And I think that in Zombicide, always having to have the 6 characters, when you have 2, you have just this huge hand. And I think it's very easy to pick up in Zombicide. It's just not my preferred way to play. And I think in Massive Darkness, you can play with each character or each player handling less characters. And so it kind of gave me that Zombicide feel, but still has the great miniatures I like, but also allowed you to really kind of focus on your few characters that you're running. So I really enjoyed Massive Darkness. It's one that I want to get more into and play more. Just with all the conventions and stuff, it kind of got tabled for a little bit, but I do plan to get more into it, play some additional. Oh, Mr. Millstream, thanks for sticking around for me to answer your question. Is there a hero or villain that you're eagerly awaiting for? Maybe not one that I'm eagerly awaiting for. I don't have much. To be clear, I have a very small game collection. I'm very hesitant and slow to add things to my personal collection. When I say small, I mean like pretty small. I'm definitely under 50 games. But Marvel Champions, you know, is a little expansion. My favorite character is probably War Machine, and I recently tried Drax, and I want to try him more. So I think right now he's probably the one that I'm most eager to get to the table again and try and play around with and figure out and hone in on how I want that deck. So that's the most recent acquisition. As far as one that I'm really waiting for, not really. I'll see when it comes out, and if it grabs me, I'll grab it. I don't know. That's, you know what I mean. All right. I think that is it for me. So thank you for joining. I will go over the contest just one more time because it was thrown there kind of in the middle. Email us contest@dicetower.com. Be sure to include your name and your shipping address in the body. The subject line is going to be Ninja. It's going to be for a $10 Game Nerds gift card. But until next time, thanks for joining here for this Q&A. I've been Camilla Cleghorn. Take care.